Hey, what's up everyone, it's me, and today I wanted to make a video talking about Diablo 4 Season 7 and why it is the best season we ever had at Diablo 4, at least in my opinion. Starting off with a seasonal mechanic, the witch powers, and in a smaller part, the occult gems. This has been the first season in 1 year or so, ever since Season 3 I believe, that we had season mechanics that actually gave us power. A lot of them gave us small little mechanics here and there, but I think in general they all were pretty well received and everyone enjoyed playing around with them, you know, making your builds adapt to the new powers, allowing your builds to, you know, that had problems, for example, in vulnerable uptime and stuff like that, be completely saved by these powers, right? And just made playing, like, leveling and everything so much better. The occult gems, I think they have some potential. A lot of them are tied with the witch powers. The witch powers, of course, are not making it into seasonal, into the actual game, right? Not seasonal. The gems could potentially, some of them, like angry power, whatever, the one that pulls enemies in, that could potentially make into the game. We will see though, right? Besides that, we also have the seasonal zone, the Headhunts zone, and in a smaller part, the Rootholds. Those Headhunts, especially in the first days, were so much fun, especially leveling on them. It was honestly the best leveling and the most fun I've had leveling in Diablo 4 ever since the game came out, honestly. It was, yes, it was good because it was fast, but not only that, you felt rewarded for doing it, not just for the XP, right? But you felt rewarded, be it items or anything else, like boss materials as well. You're dropping a lot of that. You're always moving, always doing something. If for some reason you completed every single, goal in that zone, you could just go to another one and keep doing it, keep grinding. And you just never had to stop. I think that was the biggest point here, is that hence you always felt like you had something to bite, something to go for, right? While before, a lot of times, even with seasonal stuff, you just go there and you either sit in a single place, constantly summoning a boss, or you just, complete something and then you have to wait 40 minutes to go do something else. This time around, you could just go around the zone, complete a lot of stuff, and whenever you were done, you could just go to another zone, right? And another thing that I think made Headhunts so much fun, which was one of the reasons I didn't have too much fun with them in the first day, because not a lot of people made it to T4 in the first day, right? But on the second day, when there are a lot of people there and I have a lot more my friends that were getting into T4, right? It was so much fun to do that with friends, to do that with a lot of people around, right? Because the more people you had, the more fun you had. The more things spawned, the more things you had to kill, and everything like that, and it was so much fun. Now, Rootholds might be good as well when you consider it. They're not as fun as Headhunts, in my opinion. You just went there and you mostly gambled for a lot of loot. The loot was nice. The experience itself was nothing noble, I would say. I think it was fun from getting a lot of gear, but I don't think it was fun from a play point. But again, they were a smaller part of the season zone, so I don't mind it. Now, when it comes to this making it into live, I could see Rootholds making it. Headhunt zones, I would give them like a 30-40% chance of making it, because I think that a lot of people enjoyed them. And I would argue that they do something different than Helltides, for example. And although this might be what they do, they might just try to mesh them together, both Headhunts into the Helltide zone, right? Although they might do it, I really do believe that they would be better off split and just integrating the Headhunt zone into the game. Maybe change one or another stuff, right? Because you no longer need the rot or whatever, right, to get the witch powers. So maybe do something there. But I do believe that the zone itself, constantly having something to do there, Like, it will be a lot of fun for that to actually go, you know, into the actual game. Now, going a bit back to the leveling, right? Again, leveling was a lot more fun this season. Especially because of the season zone that I do believe helped it a lot. It might have been partially because all the classes had a strong build, right? Which I'll cover in a second. But in general, like, it's just so good leveling. Now, one thing that we have problems in the past when it comes to, you know, new mechanics and even older ones was balancing and bug fixing, right? A lot of times before, you can think at Season 6, for example, there was massive bugs on Spiritborn that were never addressed, besides one that was crashing servers, and they were just left till the season ended, and it pretty much killed the fun for a lot of people. You were done with the game in the first week, if that, right? This season, they actually, like, anytime anything was out of control, they were made aware of it, it was either fixed in a day or it was disabled in a day. Maybe it was like a day and a half, but it was never like 2 days that something went without getting fixed when it was breaking the game. Be it I believe Decay was one of the big ones, right? The Witch Power Decay. It was like, there was a clear uploaded to the pit site, the Helltides one, and it was just like a day after that, the Decay Witch Power was disabled. Straight up, like, okay, we can fix it, we're just gonna disable it. And that was great to see, and that was not the only time. They were really quick into addressing, for example, for Barbarians, the Mantle, the new unique was bugged in multiple ways. They quickly addressed it, and then there was another bug that was affecting the unique, but it was not the unique itself that was bugged, I believe. So they ended up fixing it again, and actually, in a way, buffing it, making it stronger than it was before, which, you know, was really nice because you're not breaking builds apart, right? And that's something I want to address as well. The state of all classes, although some of them, you know, like Necromancers, a bit Druids, and Barbarians were a bit on the high end, right? All of these classes have cleared 150 by now, multiple clears. Some of them have like 4 minutes clears, Necromancers, right? Druids are not too far behind. I believe they have like 7-minute clears or something. But like even rogues and even Sorks and the new guys, I'm forgetting their name. Oh, I'm actually forgetting their name. What are they called? Yes, the new guys, right? The jungle guys. I forget their name. Fuck. But yeah, even like all the classes have 130 and above clears by now, I believe, which just means that everyone was able to clear at the build that was able to clear 100 somewhat comfortably, right? Maybe not right off the bat because people are still figuring things out, of course. But I think that's like, I think getting like the biggest people pushing, getting to 130, 140, right? 130 maybe. I think that's a good goal because that means a lot of people with some, you know, you need to do some stuff, you need to show some effort, but with some effort, you could easily clear 100, right? And I think that's great. That's like a really good, you know, thing to try and hit. Also, like, I do believe a lot of people, because of that, a lot of people had fun with the season because they felt like they could do something. There are some seasons that some classes were struggling, like the best players were struggling to get to 100, right? Not even 100, some were struggling to get to like 70 or 80. That was really bad. This season, like, again, some classes were a bit out there, way too high, but everyone was allowed to have fun, right? Now, another thing that probably also helped for that was the fact that, thanks in part to the Rootholds, I believe, we didn't have materials shortage, right? The only thing that was kind of holding you back was, for the most part, Optsolite. you know. But that's mostly because we're not doing Infernal Horde, we're not doing a lot of Nightmare Dungeons, and since those are the main sources of Obsolete, we're just not getting it, like, passively. But, like, if you actually went, like, I was able to get fully Masterwork gear, 3 out of 3 on every single piece of gear, some of them multiple times, in, like, 2 weeks. Like, I'm not the diehard, you know, the diehard that's playing the game all day, but I'm on the top end, right? But even then, like, most people could easily get 2 out of 3 on every single piece of gear this season without much effort. You had to do something, but it was not like, you know, a couple of seasons ago, even last season, where you just grinded your ass off and you were never, ever able to get a single piece 3 out of 3, right? And again, this season, every other, like, at least the proper material was the shortest, right? The one that is only used to actually Masterwork gear, which is Obsolete, of course, was the only one that was shortage. Some people had some problems with Veiled Crystals, I was aware of that, but that might be because they were just selling too much gear and not enchanting as much. Maybe they're not running Rootholds at all. But those were really rare cases. For the most part, the only thing people were missing was Obsolete, which I think is great, because that's, again, the only thing that's inherent to Masterwork, right? Now, part of this was also the fact that we had a lot of gear. Even if you broke something, you could just get another piece of gear. I do believe, again, this is partially because Rootholds and Headhunts were just dropping so much. Some people would argue way too much gear. I do believe to a degree it was a bit too much, but also, again, allowed people to have more fun, try new stuff, you know, try new builds, try different builds. This season was the first season I was able to comfortably try more than one build. Yes, they were all Earthquakes, but they were different builds of Earthquakes, so, you know, they're different builds, surely. But yeah, like, also in no small part thanks to the armory, right? I personally was not able to use it. Mine was bugged for some reason. I was never able to use it. But a lot of people had really good feedback about it. A lot of people were able to play a lot of different builds because of it, right? Just make it so much easier. Now, not everything was sunshines and rainbows, right? We still had some rune shortage in the beginning of the season. They reduced the amount runes dropped for some reason. Even on bosses, you're not dropping as much as you were before. But, you know, after a bit, you were able to get the runes. Like, a couple of days into the season, you could realistically get, you know, 1 or 2 of the legendary runes that you needed. Now, another big part that probably all of you are aware is the inflation in the game was even worse than last season. People were buying stuff for like 10, 20, 30 times gold cap. Yeah, that was not fun. Getting good items this season, like, either you got them yourself or you got them early in the season. After the first 2 weeks or so, getting an item, you needed a full inventory of runes or something, right? There was some duping going on, especially at the tail end of the second, third week or something. I believe there was, at least, because of the way runes crashed. But, you know, I could be wrong. And the last thing I think that they still need to improve is pit pushing. I'm gonna tell you, getting to 140 pit was fun. Getting from 140 to finally being able to clear 150 with Whirlwind was a pain in the freaking ass. Having to constantly sit there, fishing for the right layout, the right mob type. You also had the snapshot, right? With I forget the name of the witch power, right? But that's a bug, right? That's not necessarily design. That's just a bug. But the bit pushing, how it is currently, it's a design problem, right? A lot of people will not experience this because not everyone is just trying to get the highest bit they can. But for the smaller part of the population that does engage in this, it's a bit hard. Again, it's a small issue. It's like the 1% complaining, the 0.1% complaining. But, you know, if they could allow you after a certain point for you to just, like, retake the pit you had before at the very least. So, like, if you have a god pit, and if for some reason screw it up, you can just try again, right, from the beginning. That might help. Ideally, I would love to have some way to determine at least one of the two. At least either the mob type or the layout I get, right? Because, like, even getting a certain layout and a certain mob type, like, even if you get both of them, the maps will still be different. Because different mobs will spawn in different positions, different immunity guys will spawn in different positions, different mega elites, the ones with the tree buffs, right, will spawn in different positions, and that will change how the run goes, realistically. But yeah, overall, my feelings with this season, again, I believe this is the best season we have ever had of Diablo 4. I really enjoyed it. It was short, honestly. For me, this was a 2-week season, realistically. I played a bit more than that, but, like, I was really into the game for the first 2 weeks. But it was short, but sweet, right? It was short, but it was really good. At least, again, in my opinion. Let me know what you think about the seasons, any pet peeves that you have about the season, any things that you like to see going to the full game, or, you know, be properly fixed next season, maybe. Let me know down in the comments, and see you next time. Probably in PoE now, because there's the new quote-unquote season coming out. Watch out for videos about that in the future by subscribing and, you know, liking the video if you can. Bye-bye.